Bryan Kohberger, the criminology student that became the suspect. He studied crime. He researched criminals. He taught students how offenders think, and then he became the suspect in one of the most chilling cases of the decade. Before the world knew his name, Bryan Kohberger was a quiet PhD criminology student at Washington State University, brilliant, intense, and obsessed with psychology of offenders. He wasn't learning just to understand the crime. He wanted to understand why people chose the moments they did, the thoughts behind the violence. In fact, he even posted a research survey asking criminals how to explain how they planned their crimes, how they selected victims, and how they avoided detection. And then, on November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were found murdered inside their home near campus. A community shattered, a national panic, and for weeks, no suspect. But behind the scenes, investigators were quietly watching one person, the criminology expert who lived just 10 miles away. Detectives noticed that a white Hyundai Elantra, the same model Kohberger drove, had been seen near the crime scene that night. They also noticed something strange. Cell phone records show Kohberger's phone leaving his home around the time of the murders and returning shortly after. And DNA recovered from a knife sheath left at the scene was later matched to Kohberger through familiar DNA and a warrant. It became a forensic story, a digital story, a case built on behavior, movement, and science. On December 30th, 2022, police surrounded a home in Pennsylvania. Kohberger was taken into custody, charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. The criminology student who tried to understand criminals was suddenly seen by the world as one. What made the story so shocking wasn't just the brutality of the crime, it was the contrast. Kohberger studied criminal patterns. He analyzed how offenders think. He asked for insight into how criminals escape detection. And then, investigators say, he left behind a trail of evidence that told his own story. After months of silence, after hearings, motions, and delays, Bryan Kohberger stood in court and said the words no one expected to hear. He confessed. He said he was guilty. For the families of the 4 students whose lives were taken, it wasn't closure, because nothing can ever fill the space that children once held. But it was a truth finally spoken, a truth that ended the uncertainty, the waiting, and the nightmare of not knowing. Justice does not heal. It does not erase the pain. But on that day, the family saw the man responsible finally claim what he had done. And the world was reminded that behind every headline, every courtroom, every criminal case, there are families whose lives are forever changed.